Hello and good afternoon again, my dear viewers and readers. We are at a place which is called Kafunta, and that stands for good food, good hospitality, good quality, good anything Zambian. With me this afternoon, and you've met the gentleman already in the morning, is Mr. Klaus. And he will introduce himself and let you know what he does here, what he does at Kafunta right now, and what he normally does when he is not here. Klaus, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Wolfgang. My name is Klaus, as Wolfgang mentioned it. I'm here as the bush camp manager in the bush camp, which is part of Kafunta safaris. We are sitting here in the lodge, but the bush camp is further south, 59 kilometers from here.
You mentioned 3 hours drive.
3 hours drive if the road is good.
Okay.
But at the moment it's very good.
All right, so
Maybe
2.5 hours.
Two
right
and a half
now.
hours.
2.5
exactly,
hours.
yes.
Otherwise, you can take 4, if you're unlucky.
Even that happened.
Good. Tell us about the bush camp and tell us how you came to be here. You're German after all, and I gather your background is to be a freelance safari guide and tour director, taking people out to East Africa, to Southern Africa. What brought you here to Zambia?
Yeah, correct. As I'm a freelance guide, I've got a call from one of the German tour operators, and they asked me, can you do a walking safari in Zambia? I had never done that. I said, yes, I can. So I came to Zambia in 1981 to conduct my first safari in this nice country. And it was a wonderful experience. So I returned year by year for 2 or 3 safaris up to 2006.
Yes.
In 2006 I worked for another company. They are working for another German company. They are working with Kafunta safaris, and they sent me to Kafunta safaris to conduct some safaris for their clients. And so I came in contact with Kafunta. And every year I returned with some groups. In 2013, the owners of Kafunta, Anke, she comes from Germany, from Ostfriesland, and her husband Ron, he is Australian. They asked me, can you do the bush camp for us for 1 season next year, 2014? Even I said, yes, why not? Because I know the bush camp by that time. And so I became a bush camp manager in 2014 the first time, and then they asked me, can you do it in 2015? Yes, 2016, and now I'm here again, and I'm very glad to be here.
The camp is not operating right now.
The camp is operating, but at the moment we have a gap.
Okay.
On Sunday, some other guests coming, some new guests coming, and from that time we have until the end of July we have nearly full house, because it's a very, let's say, very nice spot and very well known by some experts and even also by some newcomers.
Yeah. What's special about the camp compared to Kafunta Lodge here?
There is one big difference. The camp is most for walking safaris. Here we do our safaris by open vehicle, 4-wheel driven land cruisers, and in the bush camp we go on foot through the bush. Walking safari, which are very well known, or which were introduced in Zambia. And that is what Zambia has especially to offer. This walking safari created by the father of the park, the late Norman Carr.
Yeah.
And Zambia developed it's like an art. Other countries followed, but they don't do it in that good way than Zambia does.
That's right. Now we are sitting here on one of the decks of the Kafunta Lodge, and I want to give you all a little bit of an overview that you can see what we have below us. This is a swamp, very obviously. There's a viewing deck. I actually had dinner with Klaus there last night, and as we turn around, you can see this is a public area of Kafunta with a pool and a hot spring bath. That is very unique. Maybe I take a shot of it later on. The bar, the dining room, and everything is thatched. And in the background there you can see that is actually my cottage where I stay. I have twin beds. There are rooms with king-size beds. They have 8 rooms and 2 suites. And last night we had plenty of hippos down there. And now you can see baboons, impala, and a type of Zambian kob, which is very similar to our Ugandan kob. But I'm told very often there are giraffes coming here, there are elephants coming here, and like last night there were 2 lions while I had my shower. Imagine that. How could I miss that? Just for being clean and smelling good, I missed the lions. So, back to you, Klaus. Why Zambia? I really want to know what makes Zambia so different, so special to you, that you spent half a year every year for the last couple of years here, and you've been to Uganda, you've been to Kenya, you've been to Tanzania, you've been to all the East African countries and on safaris, and yet you settled for Zambia. Tell us why.
Yeah, Zambia is very unique. It is a country where the life is very safe. It's a political stable country. All the 6 governments are elected on a democratic way, and the Zambians are very, very, very nice people, very polite, very helpful, and of course the game parks, they're in proper conditions. They have a lot to offer, endemic game and plains game you find in other countries. But especially here in this park, South Luangwa National Park, the leopard density is the highest in Africa. It is nearly impossible to go home without seeing a leopard.
Well, we saw one this morning.
This morning we saw the first one.
Yes,
maybe
the first
this
of
afternoon
hopefully many.
could be. Not many, maybe 2 or 3, it can happen.
So you think this is your most favorite park?
It's my most favorite.
Well, Zambia got 20 national parks. Why this one? Why not any of the others? Lower Zambezi, for instance.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Lower Zambezi is also a very unique park because it's, as the name says, situated at the Lower Zambezi. You have very fantastic things you can see there, but South Luangwa National Park is the, let's say, the prime park in Zambia. The wildlife is fantastic here and it's easy to see, and it attracts people which are here.
This morning we saw one wildebeest, and you actually stood up in the vehicle and said, wow. Yeah. Why is that? One wildebeest and it makes you say wow.
Yeah, that is why. Before there were a lot of wildebeest in this area, but they all have gone. As I came in '81, it was allowed to shoot them outside the park to making biltong. But by the time there became more less, and in the north of the park you find them still in good quantity. It is
in North Luangwa.
No, not in North Luangwa. In North Luangwa in South Luangwa.
But in the northern part.
Yes. And there you can find them, and it is an endemic wildebeest, Cookson's wildebeest. You don't find it anywhere in Africa, apart of
And
Spain.
today we saw one which clearly has migrated all the way down here,
Yes.
maybe as a scout to find out what's the food like.
That could be, but I don't know exactly why. Most of the time we find this wildebeest in, together with some zebras, like you see sometimes in Serengeti, 10,000 zebras and one wildebeest in between.
And at times it's 10,000 wildebeest and one zebra.
Zebra, you are right.
The other way around.
Yeah.
Tell us, if I would ask you, clearly you're an expert in this country, if I would ask you to put a safari together for me for say 2 weeks, fly in and out of Lusaka, and I say, put a safari together for me for 2 weeks. Apart from this park, of course, this one would be, you know, your centerpiece. It would be a centerpiece. What other parks would you recommend for people to see out of those 20? Which areas would you say that's absolutely a must-see?
Yeah, if you are interested to see the wildest part of Africa, you should go to the northern park, the South Luangwa National Park. That is very, very wild. You can see large herds of elephants, large quantity of lions and buffalo heads, up to 1,000. Apart from that, as I mentioned, or as you mentioned by yourself, Lower Zambezi is worth to go. You have the opportunity to go in boats, in canoes, to paddle the Zambezi, standing nearby the elephants and buffaloes and hippos, of course. And other parks, one of the biggest parks in Zambia, the biggest in Zambia, but one of the biggest in Africa, is the Kafunta National Park.
Yeah, Kafue.
Kafue or Kafue. And you can see there some animals which you can't see here. Even cheetahs you can see there. And
Rhinos?
Rhinos, they all have gone, unfortunately.
There are no more rhinos left in Zambia. Or there are some in a breeding project.
Yes, in northern Luangwa, they have 30 by now. This project has started by the Frankfurt Zoological Society. They gave 3 rhino cows from the zoo to Kruger National Park in exchange of 5 rhinos to get them to the northern part. And they are now by 30s, maybe 32, 33, and hopefully one day you'll find them also back here in South Luangwa National Park. Hopefully.
Yes.
Maybe it takes a couple of years.
Okay.
And there is one park near the border to Angola, that is Liuva Plains. We call it the Little Serengeti because they have an immigration of wildebeests coming short before the rainy season starts from Angola, and there are maybe 20,000, but if you see 10,000 of them, it's like in Serengeti.
When you see 10,000, because the numbers are, of course, quite the same. When you have a certain number and you see them here and there. What other transboundary ecosystems do you have beside that between Zambia and Angola? Are there others spanning across the border to Zimbabwe, for instance, or into Congo?
Not into Congo. Yeah, as you mentioned, Congo. From the Congo, the flying fox is coming in October, November to cross into Zambia to the Kafunta National Park. But this is not a border over-bridging park. That is just, they fly from one country to the other.
Okay.
But in the south, there are plans to make a park. It is under construction. The Kaza National Park, that means 5 countries. Kaza means Kavango, Zambezi. 5 countries, they're involved. That is Botswana, which has too many elephants, under 30,000 it has been said. Then Namibia, Angola, Zimbabwe, and
Zambia.
also Zambia.
Yes.
so elephants can walk from one country
To another. And are protected.
protected.
You
That-
mentioned the flying
Foxes.
dogs, foxes?
Yes.
Flying foxes. Imagine that. It's been described as the largest migration of mammals. Of course, bats are rarely considered as proper mammals, even though they are.
Yeah,
This is a bat migration.
that is a bat migration.
And I've heard that when they swarm in the evening, that the fading sunlight is being blacked out.
That is.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, but I met some people that told me it is like that.
So, as a last bit of safari, you would say, and to crown it all, we are going to see the bat migration if the people come at the right time of the year.
Yes,
So, this is Zambia for you.
that is Zambia for me.
And Zambia appears to be your second home.
It is like that.
You mentioned to me earlier that you come from Garmisch-Partenkirchen, which is in the German Alps, of course, a very famous town, host of the Olympic Games.
In 1936.
In 1936.
Winter Games.
Winter Games, yes. And, of course, one of the most famous skiing destinations in Germany. And you leave that behind to come here to Zambia.
Of course, of course.
Right.
Because Zambia gives me more than that place. I should be frank.
Okay, so here you have it, my dear readers and viewers. You heard the reasons why Klaus loves Zambia, and he told you why you too should love Zambia and show some of that love and affection by coming here and going on safari, maybe with him. Because I know he would love to take you around, and you don't have to be German. You hear his English is quite excellent, and he would be able to take you around and show you all these national parks. And I'm sure he's keeping his fingers crossed already. Let's have a look at that. Whether he actually manages to see the bats in full flight. Well, thank you very much, Klaus. It was a pleasure talking to you, and let's go out in the field again and enjoy another game drive this afternoon. Thank you.
Don't mention it. Thank you very much, Wolfgang, for your interest and for your coming to our place. You are most welcome, and all the other people are most welcome to visit us in Zambia.
Yes, and in Kafunta,
In Kafunta River Lodge.
where all things are good. Goodbye.
Goodbye.